Bob, Sarah, thanks for joining us. We're here at Equip. Is it the greatest show on earth in the industry?
It's a big show.
It's a big show.
It's a big show. So yeah, this is the largest green industry show in the United States that takes place here. And I think it's the biggest one they've had so far.
I believe so. I think they have completely smashed all the numbers they've had in the previous years.
I don't know how many thousand people show up, but between dealers and landscapers, it's a massive show.
It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
It is.
We noticed. Yeah, sorry, I should introduce Jo as well. Joe's our dealer from the UK. He's come over to see what it's all about.
Yeah.
We, as you know, we like to try and bring a dealer over each year. It's been really impressive, isn't it?
Yes, the size and the scope. I think I did say to Sarah if we can use this, but it's like Soltex on speed.
Okay, all right, yeah. No,
Sorry.
it is. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's huge. We've not even been around it all yet. We're looking forward to going back to the outside area, see a little bit more. But yeah, it's really impressive and extremely busy.
Yes.
And a really just overall great show.
So what we wanted to do was just have a little informal chat about what's going on. We're always interested in what's going on over here because a lot of the time tech and innovation comes from here. Sometimes it's the other way around. And I know we've spoken about that in the past. So perhaps should we just kick off with perhaps how the last year has been, for the market over here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we look at what's going on in the market, it has been a roller coaster ride, to say the least, right? So there have been moments where I think there's been the light at the end of the tunnel. We go, oh, it's going to get a little bit better, but then it's just continued to be this roller coaster. And there's been a number of things that have contributed to that, whether it's manufacturers having different strategies or dealers even looking at what's happening with their financing and the to-market route we've been seeing for these. Another big thing is employees here in the United States. Finding and keeping and maintaining good employees has been an uphill battle too. So it's been one of those things that as we've looked at it, it's been a little bit of a wild year, especially coming off the last few years, which have been just phenomenal for most of our dealers. And it's really back to where we probably were in 2019-ish is where I would say is what we're seeing.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think over this next year too, over the next 3 or 4 quarters, I think we'll see quite a bit of stabilization here, and our dealers are in desperate need of some stabilization.
Yeah, we have, from a dealer perspective, I think, interest rates are high here, so a lot of the product over here is financed. It's more how much per month can I afford kind of thing. So that's put a damper on it. We are, I know they're not saying that, but we are in a light economic recession. People are holding
the R word.
Yeah, the R. It's a little R, but it's still having an impact. Inflation has been massive over here. I'm guessing it has been in the UK also. And so a lot of people are holding on to cash. So you're seeing that, And then I think, again, of course, you're not probably aware, but we have an election.
Do you? Really?
You're probably not aware
By
of
the
that.
time this comes out, the elections probably will have been and gone, and I'm sure everything will be fine,
It
Bob.
is. I always laugh, and people say, well, what's going to impact the election? I said, well, half the people are going to be happy, and the other half are going to be mad. We just don't know which half it's going to be.
Okay.
So I said, the election is really not going to impact our dealers. What's really impacting our dealers, like you say, is employee issues. The economy's tight. People are holding on to cash. Uncertainty, those are things there, and I think that's been the big impact that we've had. Plus, we've had some areas in the States and even up in Canada where we've had some drought issues. It started off nice and then it got dry. And I always tell people, if it's dry, grass doesn't grow, and if grass doesn't grow, you don't mow it. It's
No,
that
exactly.
simple, so.
It's the same, isn't it? Yeah, we all sort of talk about all these different sort of factors and equations, but if the grass grows, it's good, and if it doesn't grow, then it's not so good.
It's not so good.
No. So just going back to a point you made there about obviously one of the issues being recruiting.
Yes.
Obviously, there's recruitment within the dealer network, but also there's recruitment with the customers. One thing that we're noticing, we've seen here, and is happening in the UK, is technology looking to help. So an example being the robotic side within the professional sector. Certainly in the UK, golf courses is a good example. They're being squeezed financially in the UK market, and they can't recruit. So what do? You have these great, amazing pieces of kit that people operate that mow the fairways, but they tend to be shipping the robots in to solve that. Something that perhaps the manufacturers we're talking to, not quite so much here yet, but do you see it going that way?
Oh, absolutely. We had a gentleman in one of our breakouts yesterday, and he's down in Florida, and that's all he does is he works with golf courses on robotic mowers for the exact same reason, because of the economies of scale. You can put it out there, and it just does. You got to monitor it some, but so and you guys are always ahead of us when it comes to, I think, technology in the green industry.
I would agree.
With batteries, robotics. Again, most of our innovation in that world comes because you guys fixed it, and then we took it.
We've got to take one thing, haven't we? Yeah.
So have those guys got it right? Okay, now we'll bring it in.
I think maybe particularly for the UK market that's accelerated robotic sales and the rise of the robotics, both domestically and professionally, is in the UK it's invariably wet.
Yes.
And whether you're talking about a golf course, putting a fairway mower out there or a rough mower, it can just be for us too wet to do that. It will damage the turf. So the robotic solution is a good solution.
Right.
And equally, flip it back to you domestic users, those that would have a lawn tractor. In England, it can just be far too wet to even put that out there. It'll absolutely trash your lawn. So it could be 2-3 weeks before it's dry enough to get your mower back out there. But because it is wet, it's perfect grass growing conditions. It's mild and damp in the UK. So people have easily made the switch from the home front to a robotic mower, because that mower, and including myself, because that robotic mower's out there every day. It's not really making any marks on there. Your grass looks great all the time, and you can crack on with your time elsewhere.
Absolutely.
So that's, I think, has really helped the UK market.
And it's really, that's mushroomed. The robotic in the professional sector. Obviously, the battery tools, hand tools, is we've spoken about it before. It's been prevalent in the UK, and we're now 70% of products sold in the UK, maybe.
Domestically. I wouldn't say in the UK. I'm just from my dealership.
Well, from your, but
It's
the most.
The country.
All right,
you
are the new representative of all the UK.
No,
Okay.
I ran the numbers this morning. So year to date, across the handheld products, domestically we're 70% of all units sold a battery, 30%. I've rerun the numbers this afternoon for the professional users.
Taking out the leaf blowers.
Yeah.
Damn those leaf blowers.
I have. I've not skewed the numbers, but it's roughly for us about 30% professional and 30% professional users are with the battery, and that's the uptake, and 70% of professional users still with petrol. But it is the upwards trajectory is continuing, and it will do, because the professional battery technology, particularly the charging on site, which we've seen here, I've not seen before. I have seen it, but the advancements that who had it, Cress with the cyber tank.
Yes. They started charging on site. Actually, a few of them are coming through. Makita were.
Who's the other one? Igor.
Still.
Igor.
They're all starting to do that now, which is it's the biggest blocker probably in the professional area. Is I've got a crew. I can't. They've got to be going all day.
So once you get the heads around that and figuring out or getting used to it, because it is new to us, or the professional market, then it'll be a game changer, I think, the charge on site, because that's always been the barrier for a professional.
I think over here, as landscapers look at, and again, we don't work a lot with landscapers, but a lot of our dealers do. And so, from a landscaper's perspective, a truck should generate about $250,000 of revenue a year, a landscaping truck. And the challenge with battery, it's so much more expensive than gas-powered equipment. And so when a commercial landscaper looks at stocking a truck, I can do it for $50,000 with gas equipment and $100,000 with electric. but I'm still only going to make about $250,000 off that truck. So they have to kind of balance it out. While I would like to do electric, the reality of it is it's not going to generate me any more real dollars.
Yeah.
And then the other piece we have over here that's different over there is our fuel prices
I
are
know.
still cheap.
You need to slam more taxes on your gas.
So I don't know, but we're at about maybe $2.80 a gallon. So what about 60 cents, 70 cents a liter?
I mean, we worked out it's about half the price of the
Yeah.
UK.
Say $6 or something.
$6, we're the equivalent of $6 a gallon.
Yeah. So again, but if that changed over here, then it starts making economic sense because they do burn a lot of fuel. So that's I tell people the situation over here.
Well, and the other piece of it is we've seen, obviously in the automotive space, we've seen the move towards electric continuing to be pushed over here. But it's still this like new, exciting forefront. Like it's not the norm even with the auto space. But I do, as we look at the different states and the different legislations per state, each state's going to be very different. So where we look at California and in California, like obviously there's a huge portion of the units that are sold that are electric in California because of legislation. They've mandated it. And again, there's other states that are in the process of that mandate as well. But
How many states do you think are sort of currently?
is there maybe three-ish?
Maybe three.
Maybe
Okay.
three.
A
lot of the
few more
states
to go then.
are passing laws that they can't ban gas powered.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
And those are the states that produce fuel.
Yeah.
Just as a heads up.
No relation. There's no
but again,
correlation.
as things change, the other piece is that battery technology is constantly evolving. So right now, you're working with lithium batteries, and it's a relatively old technology before. Then you get into solid state lithium, and then they're coming in with some other technology. So as the batteries change, that'll change, and the cost will get driven down from it. But like I say, right now, I'd say in the automotive world, if you're talking about electric, probably 15% of the people are going to buy electric cars regardless. And there's a big group that bought them and then tried them and then went back to...
Can't charge them anywhere.
Some of the problems, and you guys have the same thing, but you get in some cities here where it gets super cold in the winter, like Chicago and big cities like this. Batteries, the colder they get, the less output they have. It does them. And so when you're trying to run a heater in your car on the battery, and you're trying to, and they just had nothing there. So a lot of people kind of had that experience with, if it's really cold, battery's probably not your solution from an automotive standpoint. So I think that puts a little bit of scare in people.
Yeah, we've seen that definitely on the automotive. Just to agree with you there, with people are handing their
I think
cars back.
but again, the uptake in the UK has been pretty swift, and it's been quite impressive. Ultimately, we do have to find solutions for things, whether the battery or car is the way, or hydrogen. Some manufacturers have been driving that.
Even over here, from an automotive and even a truck standpoint, there's so much distance many times because the states there's a lot of ground. And charging stations are a big issue. So if you're in a city, there's lots of them there. But when you go far outside of a city, you're going to struggle.
I think the thing is, though, even like at a show like this, to be able to walk around and see the innovation, like the manufacturers are all thinking about this, and they're saying, how do we take our product and truly package it in a way that eventually it will be something that, whether it's the U.S. market or the UK market, it is a viable product for the market. And so I think there's that continued push in that space to say, we're eventually we're going to keep pushing this. Like electric and battery powered products are going to continue to be at the forefront of the innovation of the manufacturers that we're seeing. But what it looks like from a dealer standpoint of saying, hey, I'm excited to bring this on in my inventory, which is already to the brim currently, and bring this in and actually go through the education process with my customers. The education process, I think, for a lot of the dealers who have customers in more rural communities is a massive hurdle of helping them understand why and how this would make sense for them.
Do you think this is going to be driven politically, or is it going to be driven by consumers over here?
Yes, I was going to say
okay,
yes as well.
Yes to both.
Yes.
It depends upon, again, it depends upon the election. If the party in power stays in power, it will be driven through politics, and you'll be required.
Yeah.
Okay, and if the other party does, it is absolutely not going to be driven. You have the choice.
Yeah.
The choice is there, but we are not going to mandate as a government. You buy what you want to buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? So I think again, there, depends upon the party that gets in. One's going to mandate it in some way through taxes or whatever, and the other party is going to say, it doesn't matter to me what you drive. What you drive, what you want to drive, and we're okay with that. So.
Okay.
But there's a lot of politics in it.
Yeah. Okay. Understood. I hear you, Bob. I hear you. Just going back to the you said it's been sort of quite up and down for dealers this year. We found because I know you work across quite a wide area. You work from ground care right to big ag, don't you? Big ag dealers. I think it's fair to say in the UK, just sort of summarise it. I think the domestic and probably pro tool users the workshops are very busy because people are hanging on to kit for a bit longer.
Yes.
So the whole goods side is probably struggling a bit. On the ag side, we found the last probably half year or so very tough with big tractor sales. Is that reflective over here?
They're big tractor, big ag. Let's say 150 horse and up is off by 20% this year. And they're projecting it's going to be off that much again next year.
See, that's a big drop, isn't it?
It is. It's huge. And the challenge we've got over here again is commodity prices. So your corn, bean, wheat, stuff like this are down.
Yeah.
Because all these other countries are starting to grow stuff. Okay, and so there's the market's there for it, and the input costs are so high now with all of your fertilizers and your stuff like that to go. So, most of the farmers are hanging on. They're at a break-even point with their inputs and taking it out. So there's not a lot of dollars there. Again, over here, that changes about every 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
It kind of goes through 10-year cycles. So they've had a couple of good years. Now they're in those, but again, they're just not doing it. And then the interest rates are so high. So
Yeah.
none of these people write a check for a $300,000 tractor.
Yeah.
Are they?
It's all financed.
Are they coming down now? Are they? No. So you were talking about inflation earlier on.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was sky high.
Yeah.
Same in the UK. I mean, we were
Yeah.
10+%, I think, at one point.
Yeah, it was. It
But
started
that's
to
come.
down.
Well, that's
Okay.
come down, but it's the interest rates that have probably have recently started to come down now.